What's up, guys? We are on day 12, and the title for today is Rejected. We'll be looking at Luke chapter 4, verse 24 and 28 through 30, where it says, "And he said, Truly I say to you, no prophet is acceptable in his hometown." When they heard these things, all in the synagogue was filled with wrath, and they rose up and drove him out of town, and brought him to the brow of the hill on which their town was built, so that they could throw him down the cliff. But passing through the midst, he went away. As the saying goes, familiarity breeds contempt, which means when Jesus went home for a visit, it didn't go so great. He attended synagogue and volunteered to read. When he sat back down and said, "Today, this scripture has been fulfilled in your hearing," as it was said in Luke chapter 4, verse 21. They seemed cool with it. Jesus was being gracious enough. Odd, but gracious, so they spoke well of him in verse 22. But then Jesus didn't return the favor. Knowing their hearts, he responded with, "No prophet is accepted in his hometown." Verse 24. It was a dig. He followed up with a reminder that Elijah and Elisha weren't sent to heal their own people, because it would have been a waste of time. Uvda, Jesus effectively told his hometown crowd that they had the same issue as their Old Testament relatives, and they came unglued. So much so, they wanted him dead. With scant provocation from the guy they've known for 30 years, the Nazarenes became so insanely offended and incensed that they drove Jesus out of town and up a hill, so that they could throw him off a cliff. They were going to murder Mary and Joseph's boy. Extreme? Yes. Expected? You bet. That day Jesus had read from the prophet Isaiah, who proclaimed the coming Messiah, along with the response Messiah's presence would engender from humankind. He would be despised and rejected, as it was said in Isaiah chapter 53, verse 3. Sad. These people knew Jesus. They should have been all the more in awe of God's power and authority clearly on display in him. What the heck else could it be? He was a carpenter who grew up with them, and now he was preaching and healing all over the place. But we tend to reject anything or anyone that represents a big change in understanding or perspective, even if it comes from someone familiar, especially from someone familiar. The notion that what they thought they knew could be wrong was incomprehensible as the notion of changing their mind in a Facebook argument. So they hardened their hearts, hate him, and try to push him off a cliff. In doing so, they fulfilled Old Testament prophecy. He was despised and rejected by mankind, a man of suffering and familiar with pain. Like one from whom people hide their faces, he was despised, and we held him in low esteem. Isaiah 53, verse 3. Oh, the irony. The prayer for today is, ask God to give you the humility necessary to hear truth when it's spoken, as well as the wisdom and clarity to know how to respond. So here are some moving forward questions. Are you more likely to accept advice or godly counsel from a close friend or a mere acquaintance? Why or why not? Are you more likely to accept advice or godly counsel from a close friend or a mere acquaintance? Why or why not? What caused people to despise and reject Jesus? What was it that caused you to reject him prior to your salvation? What caused people to despise and reject Jesus? What was it that caused you, or still causing you to reject Jesus? When was the last time you changed your perspective or realized you were wrong about something significant? Note, if it is hard to remember, that might be something to work on as a way to acknowledge that part of you that you don't remember. So again, when was the last time you changed your perspective or realized that you were wrong about something significant? And so that's it for today. Hope you guys reflect on those questions about being rejected, how you reject truth, how you treat people because you reject their ideas. And I think and I believe it's important that you really respond to those questions truthfully, because it not only does it reflect your characteristics, but it also kind of reflects how you, in a sense, see other people, because of maybe you don't see things their way in things. So go and walk with God.